Good morrow and welcome to another Reddit video. In today's video we're going to be talking about what is a true fact so baffling it should be false. People were deliberately infected with malaria to cure their syphilis, and the man who developed this treatment, Julius Wagner-Jurek, received the Nobel Prize for it. The extremely high fevers of the malaria infections killed the syphilis bacteria. Then the patients were cured of the malaria using quinine. Cheetahs can't roar, but they can meow like house cats. Here is an example. Such a large creature, but such a delicate voice. So adorable. If sound could travel through space, the roar of the sun would be deafening even though it's 93 million miles away. Bloomin' heck, that's loud. The record for most children born to one mother is 69. This was between 1707 and 1782. A peasant from Shura, Russia, in 27 labours, she gave birth to 16 pairs of twins. There is an extremely rare condition called Stoneman syndrome. It causes any smallest damage done to tissue to regrow into a bone speaking briefly. People affected by this sickness slowly turn into living statues as they get older. That's not good at all. A 500-pound cigarette-smoking, beer-drinking brown bear named Wojciech was enlisted in and served in the Polish army during World War II. Private Wojciech helped the Polish win the brutal Battle of Monte Cassino and was even promoted to corporal. If Earth was a basketball, to scale the moon would be a tennis ball. It would orbit around 7.5 meters away, which is a lot farther than most people think. If the nucleus of a hydrogen atom was a tennis ball, to scale the electron would orbit at about 2,500 meters away. When Mount Everest was first measured, it was exactly 29,000 feet. It was reported as 29,002, because exactly 29,000 was not believable. Unlike on Tinder, where people like to act like they're taller than they actually are. Stalin, Hitler, and Freud all lived in Vienna at the same time. Coincidence? I think not. To scale the distance between a nucleus and orbiting electron is 16 times longer than the distance between the Sun and Pluto. The Tyrannosaurus Rex lived closer in time to us, and it did the Stegosaurus. That's really quite impressive. One day Mao Zedong saw a sparrow eating grain. Thinking that the sparrows were hurting China's grain supply, he and the Communist Party launched the Four Pest campaign. The Chinese military and population killed every sparrow they could find. Embassies didn't allow the Chinese to kill sparrows on their property, so the Chinese banged pots and pans outside the embassies 24/7 until the sparrows died of exhaustion. Unfortunately for the Chinese, sparrows mainly eat insects, not grain. The locust population exploded and 43 million people starved to death. And this is why you do not make rash decisions. Always look, analyze, then decide. It's pretty well known by now, but calculators today have more computing power than Apollo 11. We got to the moon with slide rulers and huge balls, and that's not just from the astronauts. There are more trees on Earth than stars in the Milky Way. Every time you shuffle a deck of cards, you've probably made an entirely unique order, as compared to every other shuffle in history. That is very interesting, and quite baffling to believe. In the last 3,000 years, there were only 268 years in which there was no war in the world. 1 billion seconds is about 31 years. If this video hits 1 billion likes, I will record myself counting to 1 billion. Sharks have been around longer than trees. Trees! The TNT Minecraft parody song has more views in YouTube than the original song Dynamite. This reminds me, Creeper. In chess there are over 9 million variations after just 3 moves each. 288 billion different possible positions after 4 moves each. This is the amount of variations I think about before approaching women. A black widow spiderweb is 12 times the tensile strength of steel. So remember that when you kill next spider in your house. When a guy ejaculates, his semen travels at 28 miles per hour. That is another reason why it's not allowed in school zones. Only 4 people have been to the Challenger Deep, the deepest part of the ocean. One of these people is James Cameron, the director of Titanic. There are more atoms in a single glass of water than there are glasses of water in every ocean on Earth. However, there are more possible variations of a shuffled standard deck of cards than there are atoms on Earth. If you took every civilian-owned firearm in the US and laid them side by side, you would have a giant belt of guns long enough to go completely around the moon. After going completely around the moon, you would still have enough guns left over to equip every soldier in the world with 2 guns. My Jove, that's a lot. The brain named itself, which is the most interesting thing I think I'll read today. Blue raspberry flavour comes from a gland next to the anal gland of a beaver. Blue raspberries are not real, but the anal gland of a beaver is! You can look back in time by just looking at the stars at night. That's quite deep and profound. Thank you. If every single person on the entire planet took part in a rock, paper, scissors contest, where everyone paired up and played, losers were knocked out and winners stayed on, etc. You would only have to win 33 times in a row to beat all 7.53 billion people on the planet. And as a gambling man, those are good odds. No dream is longer than 2 seconds real time. And this guy refuses to believe it. Thank you all for watching the first video on my channel. I will be uploading more videos in the future, so don't forget to subscribe to the channel and turn that notification bell on to be notified when I next upload. And don't forget to leave a like on the comment, because if it reaches 1 billion likes, I will count to 1 billion on video. And I hope you have a splendid day. Ka-chow.